Okay, so welcome to Geeks 40k channel. Here we are today at Warhammer World, and we've had another challenge. So I'm going to be taking on a member of the Wantage Area Wargaming Association, and they've asked to play against my Templar army, which is cool. So I've got 1,750 points worth of Templars. My HQ choice is this guy down here, Chaplain and Terminator armor, and I've got another HQ choice of a Chaplain in regular power armor. The Terminator Chaplain is running around with the Terminator Assault Squad, and they've got a Land Raider Crusader with the multi-melter on the top there as their vehicle of choice. For my troops, the one Chaplain is running around in a 9-man squad with a Rhino. In that squad we've got Power Fist, we've got a Sword Brethren with a Combi Flamer and a Power Sword, and we've got a Plasma Gun. And then we've got another Crusader squad over the back there with a drop pod. First time I've used a drop pod on the channel. That squad is a 10-man squad with Power Fist, Sword Brother again with a Combi Flamer and a power weapon, and then we've got a Plasma Gun in that squad too. Then for my fast attack and heavy support sort of combined, we've got Storm Talon and Storm Raven. Again, first time on the channel for the Storm Raven. I've only literally just finished that model. I did originally paint it in Grey Knights colours, but never really got to grips with Grey Knights. So it's been repainted into Templar colours, and it's got a few little additions on there as well, just to kind of make it a bit more Templary. Just shut the hatch up for you as well, so you can see down the front as well. There we go. So that's a new vehicle for me. And then we've got our regular heavy support choices here of a Trilas Predator and a Vindicator. So that is my 1,750 points worth of Black Templars.
Okay, so this is 1,750 points of Nurgle Demons. To start off with, we have the HQ and Warlord, which is going to be the Great Unclean One. He's Master Level 3 with a couple of rewards. Then for other HQ choices, we have 2 Heralds of Nurgle. One of them's on a Palanquin of Nurgle, and the other one is just a straight up Herald of Nurgle on foot. Again, both Mastery, actually these guys are level 2, and they have a couple of rewards each as well. Moving on to troops, there's not much else to the army, but we have 20 Plague Bearers as one of the troop choices, and then we have 6 little bases of Nurglings. Love these fellas, who will be infiltrating in. Then to round off the rest of the army, we have 2 Demon Princes in the heavy support choice option because of the Great Unclean One. And then finally, his debut outing, my Nurgle Knight, who is a Knight Warden, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, not used him much before. So he's got Iron Missile Pod, the Gatling Cannon, and then of course the D close combat weapon. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Not much to it, but hopefully they will at least stand up quite well against the might of the Templars. Okay, so demon deployment. Well, we've arrived here for something. I'm going to say it's probably for this temple, which the Templars don't really want us to get, but hey, they can try and stop us. So what we have here, we have the Night Warden, kind of on the flank. I'm keeping him 12 inches apart because he is allied in, and obviously there's no Chaos Knight rules which allow him to be allied in, as far as I'm aware. So he's out here taking this flank on his own. We then have the unit of 20 Plague Bearers with both of the Heralds in. So one of the Heralds is giving them Feel No Pain. The other one doesn't necessarily have a mark, but we're going to have some fun times with little Plague as well as Biomancy. So unfortunately I didn't get Iron Arm, but I've got a few other unique spells off, so they can buff their own unit and also do some shooting, which should be good. Then got the Great Unclean One just behind them, so he's going to just be slowly marching up the field. But then behind him, we have the two demon princes. So they're hopefully going to be flying up and making a nuisance of themselves. The best bit I really like, because I love these little fellas, is the infiltrating Nurglings who have managed already to capture a objective in this temple. So be interesting to see what John does and how he reacts to these little fellas as they're hunkered down. Knight fighting first turn, as well as their shrouding in a 4+ cover save, well, with a natural 4+ cover save, so they should be hard to shift if he's going to shoot anything. So anyway, that's demon deployment. Over to John.
Okay, so Black Templar deployment. I've put my Trilas Predator down here on this objective marker. In the centre, got the Land Raider chock full of Terminators looking to make a run down the centre of the battlefield, and the Vindicators next to it. I've got my Rhino just here with my Crusader squad on board, and then everything else is starting in reserve. So the Raven and the Storm Talon are going to be starting off in reserve. I'll just take you around the battlefield and show you where the other objectives are. So there's obviously one there, got one just there, one here that these guys have infiltrated very rudely on top of. And then the other objective markers nicely in the centre of the battlefield, and one over there on that kind of sphinx-like structure over there. So that's it to talk about deployment, other than I should also mention that I managed to seize the initiative, so I'll be going first. And my Warlord has a Warlord trait that gives him a 12-inch bubble where my troops can re-roll all their failed morale checks. So that might be quite useful later on. But let's go on to turn one and let's see how it goes. Okay, so we'll start out with Black Templar movement, turn one. Drop pod has arrived, landed in the middle of this building with a view to taking on the little Nurgling guys over there. We'll see how that one pans out in a short while. Other movement. My Rhino stayed put, sitting on that objective. Of the two vehicles, moved at maximum speed forwards, and slight repositioning of my Predator just to get a shot against the Knight. So that's my movement done. Let's move swiftly on to shooting. So the Lance cannons on my Predator shot at the Knight all the way down there. Managed to take 2 hull points off through scoring a 6 on one hit, and then causing an extra hull point damage. These guys, despite moving full speed forward, are still out of range. So no hits there. Down here, not the best news, unfortunately. No damage done basically through a combination of poor firing and cover saves. These guys have done literally nothing. So it is just a chance to have a quick look at the tactical objectives. Secure objective 3, which I've done. So there's some points there for that. Hungry for glory, can't achieve that at the moment because I haven't got anywhere that I can issue a challenge with. And then the other objective is secure objective 1, which is done down here. So that's 2 victory points to get me started. That's a good starting point. Anyway, it's over to Chaos Daemons for their first turn 1.
All right, so overview of movement phase of Demons. Of course, the Knight is a bit cheesed off from losing 2 hull points in the shooting phase, so he's charged up the board to try and go after some armour. And of course, the Plague Bearers slowly trundling up the field with a Great and Clean one. The 2 Demon Princes have actually gone into swooping mode, or flying mode, and flying towards the little Nurglings that are in the corner here, who have just hunkered down as they have a nice 2+ cover save with their Shrouded and Stealth in the last turn. So that's it. So now moving on to the Psychic phase and then the shooting phase. Okay, so Demon's turn for Psychic phase and shooting phase. The Psychic phase wasn't really that eventful, out of range for really a lot of stuff that I have. The warps on table, even though I rolled the Zinch, I got lucky and it didn't really actually affect anything. I got 1 blast off, but it scattered massively on the Templars tank. That's pretty much it. The shooting phase, though, actually resulted in the Night Warden actually managing to get through the Gatling cannon, and also then the rocket pod that's on top, strength 8 AP3, took out the Demolisher. So that's first blood. I've also then got, because of my Nurglings hiding around the corner, and then have 1 point for objective marker 5. So I didn't move those little fellas, they just sat around there hiding on that objective. So that's pretty much it. Nothing else for me to do at the moment, and back over to Templars for turn 2.
Okay, so turn 2 Black Templar movement. My Land Raiders moved forward to get into fire range. Those guys over there. My Predator stayed put in the building there. It's a good firing spot. No point moving. Rhino over there stayed put. Sitting on that objective. And over here, these guys have just moved forward. We'll be charging those guys during the course of this turn. So that's Black Templar movement. Let's go on to shooting. Okay, so Black Templars turn 2 shooting. Predator here took a shot at the Knight again, and we've managed to take another hull point off by way of glance. Over here, the Land Raiders shot into the Plague Bearers down there. We've taken 3 models away in total from that round of shooting. And over here, the combined firepower of the drop pod and the squad, we've taken 2 bases away and 1 base is down to 1 single wound, so those Nurglings are starting to look a little bit softer. So that is Black Templar shooting done. We'll move swiftly on to assault. Okay, so in assault, the perhaps slightly unsurprising result is that the Crusader squad down here has wiped out the Nurglings, and we've consolidated just to hide ourselves away from the oncoming demon. So that is the end of assault. Let's just have a quick look at the tactical objectives. Can't issue a challenge on the Nurglings, so that was null and void. Big game hunter didn't kill any creatures or vehicles. Behind enemy lines, need to be within 12 inches of the opponent's objective. Behind enemy lines needs to be 12 inches of the opponent's table edge. Not going to happen where we are right now, so nothing scored in that turn. Over to the Chaos Daemons.
Okay, so Demons turn 2. Cards I drew this turn. If I get objective marker 3, I score a point. If I kill a flyer, which might come in useful next turn, this one's going to bring on a couple, hopefully, and then objective marker 2. So to that end, my movement phase, the Great and Clean ones moved up with the Plague Bearers onto objective marker 2. I had a tough decision with the Knight. I was going to try and go for the throats with the Land Raider, but if I turn my side flank to the Predator, I'm just quite concerned with that many kind of lads coming at it, so it's a real concern for the Knight, and hopefully I can weather the storm and take that out. I then also moved for the Demon Prince on top of the temple. He's still flying, so it's sexist to hit him because I just couldn't get him anywhere safe. But then this Demon Prince here has actually landed and is now on foot, so he's hopefully going to engage with that squad at some point. Of course, because you can't land and assault in the same turn, so I needed to preempt that. And that's it, no reserves to come on. That's how the battlefield looks at the moment. I'm going to go away and do my Psychic and then shooting phase. It's turn 2 for Demons. Okay, turn 2 for Demons. Not really much happened this turn. I moved up and I secured the objectives 2. So that's going to be one of my cards. So that's 1 extra point. So I'm on 3 with First Blood and securing objective marker 5 from the first turn. No flyers are on, so I couldn't do that. And objective marker 3 is the other side of the temple, so they're going to have to be a later point. So I moved those guys up. A lot of the spells that I rolled are just out of range, and there's a lot of buffs for the unit. So hopefully we'll get into some combat. The Knight this turn, after his glorious kind of ability to blow up the indicator on the last turn, whiffed all of his shots completely. And actually, I think John did some amazing saves in the cover over there. So that tank commander deserves an upgrade or a medal. And then these demons, they didn't really do much else other than, because they're Nurgle, they can't run. So they're just waiting, biding their time. And hopefully I can spring a trap sooner rather than later. So over to John, see what he does in turn 3.
Okay, so Black Templars movement turn 3. The Land Raiders moved up the ramp and deployed its Terminators, who have options to go for the Plague Bearers or to go for the back of the Knights, depending on how things pan out in shooting. In the middle of the battlefield, you might notice something new. So my Storm Raven is on. And over here, its support aircraft is the Storm Talon. They came on from the same place and just moved in opposite directions. The squad's just moved around here to get a shot on this Demon Prince around the side of the building. And other than that, that is the movement done. So we'll go rapidly on to shooting and see what happens down the middle of the battlefield. Shooting. Well, first thing to notice is there's a big hole right there. And that is thanks to Predator firing and not really doing a lot. And then the Storm Raven taking off one hull point, and the Land Raider using the Machine Spirit to fire the multi-melter to finish that guy off. So that is one dead Knight, which I'm pretty pleased about. Other shooting, only one Plague Bearer managed to get killed in the shooting from the Land Raider. They've got some sort of psychic ability that's given them a bit of an extra boost on Feel No Pain, which sucks from my perspective. Down here, over the back, Storm Talon's been firing at the Demon Prince, as has the squad there, but thanks to a 2+ Jinx save, which is frankly ludicrous, that guy is totally untouched. So we're going to move on now to Assault, and let's see what happens in the Assault phase. Okay, so Black Templars turn 3 Assault. These guys failed their assault roll, but it was a bit of a shot to nothing anyway, but I might as well give it a go, but they didn't make it. Over here, however, the Terminators, as you can see, have cleaned up pretty much. So they've killed 16 Plague Bearers as a combination of assault and then thanks to the Chaos Daemons failing their morale. We did issue a challenge, so the chaplain over there has issued a challenge, and the guy there on the mount of whatever type it is, he's down to 2 wounds. But the reason I mention the fact that I issued a challenge is if we go and have a look at my strategy cards, then Big Game Hunter is done because the Knight was destroyed in shooting, and Hungry for Glory means I get a victory point for issuing a challenge. So those 2 are in the bag, and that is the end of Black Templars turn 3.
Alright, so Demons turn 3. Quite a savage turn for me last turn, but hopefully I can claw things back. So Demon Prince on the left here has swooped over the flyer to Vector Strike, which I'll resolve actually in the next turn. But the other Demon Prince jumped over the temple and is landed next to the Templars, so he'll try and deal some damage there. And then the rest of my stuff, the other 3 models I have, the other 2 guys are still locked in combat with the Terminators, the 2 Heralds that is, and then the Great and Clean one has decided to try and go and support and get locked in to try and save the Heralds as well. So we'll see how that goes in combat. Of course, I have my Psychic Phase, which should also help buff those units, and then that's it. I don't have any shooting left, so yeah, I'll come back after I've done that. Alright, so Demons Turn 3, talking about the Psychic Phase and Shooting Phase, but first off, the Vector Strike, actually I managed to get a hull point off the Sky Talon, whatever this Imperial flying thing is, so it's down to 1 hull point. He's still flying that Demon Prince on the left. Also then talking around the Psychic Phase, I did have a load of dice, but I got really unlucky with a lot of my rolls. So I only managed to get Miasma off on the unit, reducing their weapon skill and initiative by 2. So at least that might help me stay in from a defensive capacity. And of course the Great and Clean one's then going to charge in the assault phase. The best news for the Demons was the fact that I rolled 6 on the Winds of Chaos, and this lovely new unit of Plague Bearers decided to turn up and join the party. So they'll now be staring down, either taking out the Rhino, or they can then of course get the drop pod, or hopefully that Rhino will regurgitate some Marines for me to clean up. Either way, moving on to the assault phase. Okay, Chaos Daemons turn 3. So what we had here was the Great and Clean one joining the fray. and he managed to take out, I think, one Terminator on the charge, because all attacks went onto the Storm Shield. Saves taken on the Storm Shield, so 3+ invulnerable save wasn't very nice. We also then had the Herald of Nurgle was taken out, but we have still got the other Herald of Nurgle on the Blanquin. So that battle is continuing as it was a draw. We also then had the Demon Prince over here. He managed to take out 4 Marines, but on the Overwatch, the guy with plasma pistols decided to roll double ones followed by another double ones for a save. So quite spectacularly blew himself up with his supercharged plasma pistol. And I think that is pretty much it. I managed to get the Demon Prince actually down to 1 wound with some terrible dice rolling by myself. So yeah, it's going over to Templars turn 4.
Okay, so Black Templars turn 4 movement. The Crusader squad in that Rhino have disembarked to face the oncoming Plague Bearers. Storm Talons dropped into hover mode so it can swing around and is looking to attack from behind. The Storm Raven has sped off down the board just to be close to that objective. And then finally, Land Raider's just making a move towards that objective there, just in case the appropriate cards come up. So let's move on to shooting and see what damage we can do. Only 1 bit of shooting on the board, between the Storm Talon and the Crusader squad. That little squad there of Plague Bearers that rocked up randomly has been removed and sent back to the warp once again. So that's the end of my turn, in fact. So let's just have a look at the cards that we've got. And we've got Witch Hunter. Now I killed the Psyker in the Plague Bearer squad at the back of the board. So that's 1 gone, so I'll have that. And also, let's have a look what we've got here. We've got no prisoners. Score 1 victory point if you eliminate a unit. Well, they've gone. So that's good. So that's another point. And then Kingslayer, kill the Warlord. Do you know what? I've forgotten about Assault. So why don't we go and have a look at Assault and see if we get that one too. Assault. As you can see down here, we've killed the demon and consolidated towards the objective. So that was a good result. Over here, a bit of a mixed bag. So taken 1 wound off the guy at the back there. I've lost 2 Terminators and I've taken a wound off the Warlord as well. So combat there is tied. So again, let's go back and have a look at the cards. As you can see, the one that I didn't resolve there, Kingslayer, well, the Warlord is still on the table, so that's not going to happen this turn. So that concludes my go.
Right, so Chaos Daemons, movement phase. I managed to vector strike the Stormfront gunship. I got 2 hits, and one of them actually managed to get through, so that's good. Taking that down, and then over with the Great and Clean one in the Psychic phase, I managed to cast Warp Speed. So now I actually have extra 3 attacks and plus 3 initiative. So I'm definitely going first, but those extra attacks should help me put enough wounds on that unit. Should hopefully get them in time to save the Herald and maybe take out the Chaplain as well. Okay, so Chaos Daemons shooting phase. It's going to be nice and quick. The Warp Storm table didn't really do anything again for me this turn, but then moved into the combat phase, and Warp Speed certainly helped me out. I managed to kill first his Terminators with the extra attacks and the initiative. Unfortunately, I didn't get there in time. Herald and Nurgle was killed, especially was locked in a challenge, and so I've lost those dice. Then the roll to see if I get a win back in one of the I failed as well.
Okay, so turn 5 Black Templar movement. Well, not much really. These guys are basically staying put on that objective. These guys are staying put here so they can take on that Flying Demon Prince. The Trilaz is also staying put. He's got a good firing position. My Land Raider's backed up slightly, pointing its guns towards the Great Unclean one, but also backing up to stay on that objective. And my Storm Raven's in hover mode, and that's hanging out at the back of the battlefield. looking to bring its guns to bear later on. My chaplain's there in the middle, still fighting in hand-to-hand combat. I've dispensed my card to slay the warlord because with 1 wound left, I don't think that chaplain is gonna survive. So I've discarded that card. And let's move right on to shooting. Okay, so turn 5, ended up skipping shooting in the end, for the purposes of filming at least, because I needed 6s to hit the Flying Demon Prince, and none of my guys scored that, so there was nothing done in shooting. In assault, my chaplain, my warlord, is dead. He's fallen to the Great Unclean One, perhaps not surprisingly given that he only had 1 wound left. So he's dead, and he's given a victory point away to the Chaos Daemons. But before I hand over to their turn, let's have a quick look at the cards that we've got and see if I've scored any points. So first of all, we've got Secure Objective 1. Objective 1 is over there, being taken care of by the Predator. That's good. So that's a point scored. We've also got Secure Objective 4. Objective 4 is that one over there. Land Raider's got that one for now. So that's another point in the bag. We'll take that. And then finally, I've got Domination. Scored D3 plus 3 victory points if every objective marker is held. Now, pretty close to that. I'd love to say it was true, but let's have a look at the battlefield and see how it's going. So we've got that one there, that one there. Trializer's got that one, Land Raider's got that one, but in the centre there, that's the one that's let me down. I'm so close to achieving that. Never mind. So now it's over to Chaos Daemons for their turn.
Alright, so Chaos Daemons movement phase. What I've had to do here is move my last remaining Demon Prince and fly him over towards Objective 1. I'm going to land him next turn into the terrain, so you can then rip this Predator apart. But of course I can't land and charge in the same phase, so he's going to have to try and land and stop next turn. Then I've got the Great and Clean one, and I have cast in the Psychic phase Endurance. So I have Feel No Pain, and I also then have it will not die. No, sorry, it will not die. Eternal Warrior. But really, I have to rely on Smash Attack. I didn't roll Iron Arm, so I'm going to have to try and rip this Land Raider apart old school way, and hopefully I get an Explodes result or something like that. But we'll see how that assault phase goes. Alright, so Chaos Daemons for the shooting and also the assault phase. I rolled Khorne's Wrath for the storm table. As is like most of the rolls I got today, that didn't really do anything. Didn't manage to actually get any of those templates on any of the units. So with the assault, in the last, actually in John's turn, I managed to kill his warlord. So I gain 1 victory point for killing at least 1 enemy character who was removed as a casualty. So that's going to help. And really for the rest of the assault phase, I charged in with my endurance spell cast on my Great and Clean one, but like I've said before, I didn't have Iron Arm, which would have really helped me to rip this tank apart. But I took one of the 4 hull points off it, so I'm gradually grinding it down and pushing it back. So we'll see how that goes. Now, actually, what we have to do is see if the game continues. So on a 3+, the game continues, and luckily it is for me. So we now go into a final turn 7.
Okay, so here we go with Black Templar movement. So the Rhino there's spun round and the squad have moved forward to advance after that Demon Prince. And the Trilas Predator just over here has also moved in to counter that threat as well. The Storm Raven staying put on that objective. It's moved slightly just to get a better clean line of sight against the Great and Clean one. The Land Raider's backed up just a little bit as well. So that's my movement done. Let's go straight on to shooting. Okay, here we go with turn 6 Black Templar shooting. Not a lot to report really. This squad needed 6s to hit the Flying Demon. And as a result, they've only taken 1 wound down. So lots of shooting, not a lot happening. The Trilas Predator also took some shots, didn't do anything. Further down the table here, the Land Raider has fired everything it's got into the Great and Clean one. So is the Storm Raven. But between them, they've only managed to take off just a single wound. Okay, so let's take a look at the cards and see how that stacks up. So the first one I've got in my deck is Secure Objective 4. And Objective 4 is this one a bit further down the table. Just behind the Land Raider here. And for now at least that objective is indeed secured. So that's a point scored. And then we've got to secure Objective 6. And Objective 6 is that one over there, behind the Storm Raven. It's in hover mode. So that is score as well, which is great. And the last card is Blood and Guts. And to get that, I need to engage one unit in assault and wipe it out. That's not happening at the moment, so that basically concludes the Black Templar turn.
Alright, so Chaos Daemons, turn 6. I have just got the 2 models left on the board, Great and Clean one and Demon Prince, but my cards I think are being better for me. All I have to do is remove that Land Raider from Objective Marker 4, then like I said, I'm just going to tear that Predator apart on Objective Marker 1, and so that should be 2 more points to me. And then if I destroy an enemy unit during the shooting phase, so I'm going to try the Warp Breath from the Great and Clean one on the Land Raider. It's probably asking quite a bit, but we'll see. You never know, might get lucky. And of course, then this Demon Prince has landed. I've done the Dangerous Terrain test, so he's fine, but he's got 2+ cover save with his native shrouding, and he's in cover as well. So I think he can weather the storm from the Predator, and if there's any other kind of shots coming from that unit, if they're in range, not rapid fire range, but so he should be fine. So yeah, and I'm going to see what the Warp Storm table does, roll on Psychic Powers, cast Endurance, and get all that done. Right, so Chaos Daemons turn 6. I'm really leaving this down to the luck of the dice gods for this one. I need to try and get these 2 objective markers, get a bit of a moral victory. As I've just landed, so I need it to go into turn 7, so I can then assault this Predator, and I'm sure the Demon Prince will make short work of that. But yeah, that'll then give me these 2 objective points. But really, the kind of major battle that's going on is this scrum between the Land Raider and the Great and Clean one. I'm slowly grinding him back and ripping those kind of armor panels off piece by piece. You see he's now down to 2 hull points, so we'll see how that goes. And just roll to see also if I get my wound back from It Will Not Die, and more importantly though, do we go into turn 7? That's going to kind of be the penultimate thing. Do we get a final turn? Let's see what the dice gives us on that one. We just need a 4 or more to carry on. We do, we then go into a turn 7, so the demons haven't finished yet. I still have a chance to blow this tank up, and then also rip that Predator apart, so hopefully some more victory points coming for the demons.
Okay, so here we go with turn 7 Black Templar movement. So these guys down here have moved forward. Again, we're looking at that Demon Prince over there, and hoping to take him down. Now we don't need 6s anymore, now he's on the ground. Plus we've got the Tri-Las over there to take him out as well. A bit further down the table, Land Raider has predictably backed up to open up the opportunity for some shooting. Plus I've got my Storm Raven looking down there as well. This time I might actually remember that it's got some missiles, and I might use them. Let's see if that makes any difference. So let's move swiftly on to turn 7 shooting. My Rhino, this squad down here, and the Tri-Las only managed to take 1 wound down here. Back up here, the Land Raider plus the Raven, I'm taking a wound down there, so both units still very much alive and kicking. Let's come down here and let's have a look at the cards that we've got. So we've got secure Objective 5. Objective 5 is there and is secure. So I'm going to claim that one. If I can get it off the table. There we go. That's that claimed. We've got secure Objective 2. Objective 2 is up there in the middle. No one's on that one, so can't claim that one. And then finally we've got here Ascendancy. So you need to score D3 victory points if you have any 3 objective markers. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So that's a D3 score for me, and it's on to Chaos Demon turn 7 to finish off the game.
Alright then, so last turn for the demons. Not sure whether these last 2 victory points are going to really make a difference, but you know, for the moral kind of victory, I want to see if I can claim them. So what I've done movement phase is move the Great and Clean one again, but trying to claim Objective Marker 4. I've managed to also cast Endurance on him as well, and I'm hoping that I can smash attack and get through and get some kind of, again, an Explode result. Just get rid of that Land Raider. And that'll give me another victory point. And then over here, the Demon Prince come over and he's going to be able to charge. He can't fail, and he's going to rip that Predator apart. I'm sure of it. I know he can do it. And then claim objective marker 1. Now I'm also going to have to do a warp storm table, which I need to do before we move to the assault phase. So I shall get that done, do my combat, and come back. Okay, so the end of Demon Turn 7, and unfortunately, no matter how much chasing and clambering all over that Land Raider, Great and Clean One just couldn't take it down. Only with Strength 6. I really needed Iron Arm in this game. That would have got Biomancer Power, would have been great. Would have really ripped open that Land Raider. But anyway, so didn't manage to take any more whole points. It's still on 2. So that objective remains contested, which means I didn't score a point there. However, the Demon Prince, he really did well. I'm really pleased with him. And he just tore that Predator to pieces. So he's managed to get me 1 extra victory point. So it's not such a crushing defeat. So that means just looking at my cards, objective marker 5. There's a card I drew this turn. It's all the way in the temple. Poor little Nurglings got massacred on that one, so that's a no-go. Objective marker 4, again, of course, been contested, just here with the Land Raider. The objective marker 1 gives me 1 extra point. So a little bit of a moral victory, I think, with my 2 units remaining. But I think what we're going to do now is really just kind of tally up the kills, the overall victory points. But it's certainly looking quite promising in the favour of the Dark Templars, the Black Templars.
Okay, so let's look at the Black Templar victory points. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, plus Line Breaker is 14. So 14 points for Black Templars.
Okay, so Demons wrap up then. My mighty 4 objectives secured during this game. Not as many as the Black Templars. But on the plus side, I do have Line Breaker, First Blood, and Slay the Warlord. So that takes me to grand total of 7. So 7, 14. I think that's pretty good victory for Black Templars. But you know, Papa Nurgle doesn't really care, and who can blame him with these happy little guys? They'll be back for more, I'm sure.
Okay, guys. Well, that's it from Warhammer World today. Thanks to Wantage Area Wargaming Group for the challenge, and if you guys want to take on the Geeks as well, then feel free to get in touch, drop us a line over, and you too can play one of the Geeks. Other than that, guys, if you enjoyed what you've seen, then please like it, and more importantly, subscribe to see more of the same. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again very soon. Thanks a lot.